Welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast. My name is Stephen Pope, and I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. In today's every week at noon Eastern Standard Time session, it will be a live Q&A where any question related to Amazon is in scope, and I will answer it to the best of my knowledge and abilities. I am a practitioner. I have my own Amazon account, and I also run an agency with 160 active full-service clients and 55 employees. So we see things every day, and I'm excited to see we have a long list of questions already in queue today. And since we have so many eager people to get questions answered, I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight in and get to it with no further monologue. All right, so first question comes in. We've got Nylon saying, if I have a product that can go to in a category, home or patio, is there any benefit or drawback to what category you place it in? The subcategory in home is more applicable, but patio is smaller. Nylon, this is a fantastic question. Probably not a really easy answer on this particular one today. I would say that category has less impact than maybe people think it does. And that's because most of the search terms that you're ranking for are where most of the sales velocity comes from. And it doesn't come from people looking through the category to find the item. So like if you thought about e-commerce 10, 15 years ago, a lot of people would circulate through a drop-down or a navigation where they look from, a linear distinction of, okay, I need to find a home good. I click on home and then I go to category for this or that, patio, and then kind of go down the trajectory there. And today it's like completely the opposite, where somebody just types in literally, hey, I need a home patio set with 4 chairs. And then immediately that's exactly what they get in the search results. So that's why I don't think category is as critical as some people make it out to be. But I would say if I were in your shoes and you had multiple SKUs, I would probably differentiate and have some in one category and some in another. The other thing you may want to think about is your brand name and brand registry. If you have a brand name that's common and there's other people with that same brand name, that could also cause a question of what category you'd want to go in. More often than not, a trademark in any sort of class can get a brand registry for all accounts or all categories on Amazon. So hopefully that's helpful. Feel free to ask any follow-up questions if you have them. JA says, my supplier can't find my FNSKU stickers of the sizes which are available for download through Seller Central. I find that really hard to believe, by the way. I'll pull up my account and see if I can look at the actual sizes that they offer. And then is it okay to use stickers that are similar size and downscale the barcode so it fits? I would say proceed with caution. The answer is probably yes. I don't know for certain. The reason why I say probably yes, though, is because the ability to scan the code as long as it works is what we're looking for. So I just got into my account here. I'm going to share my screen here momentarily. Let me share screen. And let's take a look at this. Let's see if we can make that bigger. Perfect. Thanks for your help and assist. Sierra's behind the scenes helping us out. All right. So on the right-hand side here, you can see there's a paper sticker option where it's 21 up labels, 44 up labels, and everything in between with the sizes in millimeters, as well as A4 or on US letter. So your default choice is the 30 ups on US letter. Notice how most of the other sizes are in the other A4 format. And this is pretty common as far as I understand it, in Europe, as well as potentially China. Somebody have knowledge on that. Don't hesitate to add your feedback in the comment section. I don't know for fact. But with that in mind, if somebody doesn't have one of these sizes, I would find that very, very surprising. In any of the scaling you do with the label, I highly recommend you just test it yourself. Pull out your phone and scan it, right? So like I have a video where I go through labels. I just posted it like 10 days ago. We'll link to it below. See if you can find the FBA barcode label video I put out the other day and link that. Let's send that to JA. We also had GS1 come on a podcast last Friday and talk a lot about barcodes. I don't think that'll be helpful here, but just contextual if anybody's watching this and they want to learn more about GS1 codes. We have a big interview on that one as well. So Jay, I think I would test it. I would pull out your phone and scan the code. As long as you can scan it and it pulls up the item, probably safe to proceed. All right, our next question here. Yo, Steven, this comes from TrustYar100. My images saved in Manage Inventory are not showing on the listing. I am brand registered. I have brand registry a few times, but only advises to delete and upload the feed. I have asked brand registry a few times. So, Sierra, by the way, if you can get the other format to show where we've got like a little space under me. I don't know why that's not working today. But in any case, TrustYar, I would say your challenge is you need to ask Amazon to accept your seller contribution. That is the key phrase, seller contribution. So file a ticket and ask them to include your seller contribution images, and then that should get them to go through. It's very rare for me to fail to get secondary images to show up. If your brand, when you click on the brand name of your listing, if it links to your store, that means the brand node is fine. If you click on your brand name and it doesn't load the store, you may have a brand node ID issue. We do have a video on how to fix the brand node ID. We'll try and link to it for you, TrustYar, as well. If the brand node is fine and it's still not showing your secondary images, it's very likely that the catalog team has locked the listing down. The Vendor Central accounts, if you've ever loaded an item through first party, that will be a challenge because they do tend to lock those listings down. And you'll just have to give that a whirl to see if one of those will work. Lastly, after you file the ticket requesting the change, add a link to your manufacturer website, your website, showing the item just to give them proof of the change. And then the last thing I'd say is file the ticket in brand registry support. We do have a video on filing tickets within brand registry as well. There's a very specific change that happened about 90 days ago where you have to now file most of your attribute changes specifically inside of brandregistry.amazon.com and not through Seller Central. So if you haven't tried one of those, I think you'll have a really big help by trying one of those solutions. I am trying to find my brand node ID video because I think that's a really important one to kind of link here. I'll see if I can get that into the comments for you today here momentarily. All right, I'm going to go to the next question here. Cupcake Sprinkles, good to see you again. You seem to be on most of our live sessions. ASIN Parentage, is the supplements category still combining reviews? Can you elaborate on the differences between reviews and ratings? So a rating is where somebody has clicked like the 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5 stars, but they didn't leave any comments. A review is when they actually physically type out the comment. And so in your case, the question of whether reviews are still combining in supplements, I think they are. Within certain contexts. So I think flavor still allows them to combine. I want to see if I can find an example of this. If anybody has an example ASIN with a parentage in the supplements category they want to share, I'm happy to look at that today. I love doing ASIN reviews. I think they're really, really fun. But basically, I'm pretty sure they still combine. Let's see if I can find an example. I'm kind of looking on my other screen here. Maybe I'll let you guys go along with me here as I kind of look at this. All right, so here's an example. We got All Day Energy. This is the #1 energy pill in the US. Click on that other flavor, see how the reviews still combined. So I think this is proof reviews are still combining in supplements. Now, however, if your supplements parentage breaks and you have to remake it, you may have a challenge getting the reviews to recombine because Amazon is on record right now saying they will no longer combine reviews. So there's your challenge. We have a few different videos: how to fix the brand store bug, how to fix brand name link to brand store. I do not see my brand node ID video on first glance. We'll have to find that for you today. All right. So Matt Cromie, I hear sellers talking about category listing reports and that you need to contact support to do this. What are they and what is the benefits? So there's a categorying export report you can request that Amazon will approve. This is the video I have on that one. I'll add this to the stream here. So in this video, I walk through how to get access to this report. So Matt, here's the video for you, category export report, putting that in the chat. And basically you just file a ticket, ask them to give you the ability, and then you go over into Seller Central. In this section right here, you go to the inventory report section, and then in the drop down, it'll give you the option to do a new export, category listings report. You can see that the very top one right there. And then what the benefit of this is you have the ability to export bullets. You have the ability to export keywords in mass. So this is more important the more SKUs you have on the account. Here's an example of like every field that can be exported. A lot of different fields, very, very valuable information to be able to have all of this. And then you can see all your UPCs and all of your data, especially if you want to export this over into like Walmart or another portal. So really, really valuable. So Matt, great question. Glad you asked that one today. Treshar 100 says that does not work at any time I try. And when I explain that to brand registry, I get the same answer. Need to delete and upload or ask the brand owner. I wonder if you do have a brand registry bug, because if they're asking you to ask the brand owner, they're not recognizing you as the brand owner. Therefore, that could be the challenge. All right. So how can I get the saved images to show? So I think we kind of went in depth today on answering that one. Give that a whirl and let us know if that works for you. Nylon 97, are there any problems that arise with changing email address? I watched you on Quiet Light podcast, and it seemed to indicate there may be a problem when changing email if it's done with the bank too. So you can safely change the email today, in my opinion, without any recourse or problem. And I haven't had a lot of problems with that. We do have a guide on how to change the email. I'll post that here, change email, put that into the chat just now for you. And basically the bank change is the critical one. That's the one that has the biggest problems. So if you're going to make changes, you acquired an account and you're going to make some transitions, I would go ahead and take ownership of the email day one, no problem. For the banking information though, I would probably wait for 2 days after, maybe 3, after a bank deposit goes through. If you make the change before the bank deposit goes through, you're going to have a challenge with the system basically thinking the account has been hacked. And if the account looks like it's been hacked, they revoke all of the permissions. They take out your ability to manage the account for about 24 to 48 hours. So with the bank change, I recommend you go in there and say, hey, Amazon, I'm about to change the bank number. This is totally legitimate. You're not going to say it like that, but that's what you're trying to convince them. And you're basically going to say, hey, this is normal procedure for us. Please approve this in advance. And then you make the change, do it right after a deposit. You won't have any problems. I always have this issue when somebody has a problem. This is the guide, by the way, on how to change the email address. You go to login settings, hit edit on the email, and here is a full video on how to do that. So we'll link that as well. All right, so let's go to the next question here. So Trojan Baller says, search term optimization, detail pages say I should remove 189 bytes because of low value terms. Pink terms, as you described it in your video. However, they are all very relevant to my product. So I think your question is like, should you remove those words? And the answer is yes, do it via phase 2. We have a lot of content. We have an entire playlist on search term optimization. Sierra, if you can get the SEO playlist linked, go ahead and queue it up to the Ad Badger SEO phase 2 video. Specifically will help out Trojan Baller here. And so Trojan goes on to say, for example, I sell coffee mugs, and one of the terms is coffee cup and has over 200 search volume. Why would I want to remove that term per their suggestion? The answer is because you're looking for incremental indexing. So whenever you build a listing on Amazon, when you first start, I recommend you go for mass blast indexing. And so with that in mind, you want to include every keyword that's relevant to your product. So coffee mug and coffee cup, obviously extremely relevant to your listing. However, once you get past phase 1 SEO, as we like to call it at my Amazon guy, you need to start phase 2, which is incremental indexing. And basically, Amazon has already indicated that you've signaled that your listing is about coffee cups because it's in your title or your bullet points. At which point, if you remove it and then simply add in other phrases, because your search term field only has 250 characters to work with, and Amazon's telling you, hey, you have 189 characters we think you should change, go ahead and make the changes. Measure those changes, and I will 100% put my name out there right now that if you switch those 889 characters to anything else, could be literally unrelevant keywords, I bet you your indexing is going to go up considerably. And that's because you already have max credit for the keywords you've already chosen. And that's why it's important for you to change up and iterate those search terms, right? So keep that in mind. All right, so let's go to the third part of your comment. If I sell tea sets, should I put repeating words? Tea pot, tea cup, tea mug? Absolutely not. That is a repetitive keyword. That is a no value keyword addition, and you do not want to do that. So remove multiple mentions of the same keyword. The reason for this is it's a multi-permutation. So the word tea, if iterated one time in the string of the keywords of the 250 characters with no commas, critical, no commas, then you will be able to get additional keyword iterations. We have all of our phases to SEO. So for those that are curious, you can see some high-level information about our SEO phases. We only offer phase 2 and 3 to full-service clients. We do, however, still offer phase 1 SEO for anybody as an a la carte service. And we outline the very issue that Trojan is talking about right here. So would you put the word hair repeatedly? No, you would remove those. Those are non-value added keywords. So this is free information for anybody who wants to get our full guide on SEO phase 1. We give it out for free. It's a really solid guide. It's the actual guide my own employees use. So go ahead and go over to our search term optimization page. We'll put a link to that in the comments right now, and add your name and email, and we'll email you a copy of the PDF. We have a bunch of videos. Here's the Ad Badger podcast, part 1, tons and tons of information. If you want to hire us because you don't have time or you think we'll do a better job, $300 up to 10 ASINs for phase 1 SEO. All right, let's go to the next one. So Emily says, does keyword density apply to Amazon SEO? Yes, it does, but not as much as it might in other verticals a la Google. So you don't need to have the same density word in your search term, which we just talked about. You also don't need to have the density in your title or your bullets. I would, however, get as many exact match references to the hundreds of keywords that you are chasing in your listing into your A+ content, your bullet points, and your title. So if you let's assume right now that your top 10 competitors are indexing for 4,000 keywords. Of those 4,000 keywords, there's no way you could include every mention of every iteration of all those keywords into your listing. So what you're going to want to do is maximize the relevancy, go and iterate the number of top competitors that are ranking for as many of those keywords, and figure out the amount of relevant keywords that most of them are ranking for. And when you do this, you will maximize the relevancy score and get as many exact matches in play. I think this one does require a little bit of demonstration. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this on a product live here. So this is a product for Energize, and we're going to go into Cerebro and look up their ASIN. The Chrome extension is not loading immediately. So let's see if I can log into Helium and do this one live. So we're going to go over into keyword research, into Cerebro here. I'm going to type in the ASIN. Now, this particular product, I'm not going to do like the full 10 competitor lookup because it's pretty time intensive as an opportunity. But this particular product indexes for 3,300 keywords. And if you were to look at the word frequency cloud over here on the right, you can see what's most relevant. But we know that this is an energy pill. We know that the word energy is the most important aspect. So if you were to sort this, filter it, if you would, just for the word energy, notice how I clicked on the word energy here and it filled that in here. It's a pretty cool tool. If you haven't got Helium-10, I highly recommend it as a keyword tool. I am an affiliate of them. I'll put my affiliate link if you want to get 50% off your first month with Helium-10. But if you go in here and you see there's 1,700 keywords for energize, or energy rather, you can then go look at every single keyword that this listing ranks for. And there's quite a few that they're in slot 1 for, right? So there's just 1,700 different ways to say energy. So if you were going to work your SEO with as many of these keywords as possible, you would have full-time energy pill, you would have all-day energy pill as separate phrases somewhere in your listing. So I know it took a long time to answer this question, but I think it's a really critical one. And I'm a big fan of SEO work, and I have a big history with SEO work. And that's why I spent so much time on this question, because I feel like most people are pretty light on their SEO theory, and there's just so much more people can do with that. So there's just a lot I recommend to work on. All right, so I'm going to put into the comment section. Here is a 50% discount for Helium-10. Just put that in the comment section there. Check that out. All right, so Emily says, how much weight does keywords have in the PDP copy versus the backend keywords? So the ranking factors go as follows. It starts with title and search terms. I've seen some people that say title is more important. I've also seen others that say search terms are more important. I would probably say it's a pretty close sixes, maybe a slight error in favor of the title. Following that, it's a very distant third to everything else, bullet points. And then Amazon claims they don't index A+ content, but we know they're big fat liars because we've put Spanish into one photo's alt text of A+ content and indexed for Spanish in under 24 hours. So we know they index A+ content. Do focus copy in your A+ content. Matt Cromie says, brand registry support keeps saying my Seller Central account is connected to my brand registry, but I still can't get to the store as I get to message no stores registered. Goes on to say, I tried the video you did about messaging support with the token, but no joy. Any other advice with the UK brand registry? So Matt, I think I remember talking with you in my comment section. So sorry our video did not work for you. It does tend to work pretty consistently. So maybe just file the same ticket. Hopefully you get a better rep who fixes it. That might be part of the problem. I will tell you that brand registry support on Amazon is kind of like a military zone, and people who used to work in brand registry will tell you their PTSD stories. And so sometimes it does require lobbing over a few grenades before one lands and correctly gets you where you need to go. Julia says, great, new on your channel. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Emily says, hot honey and spicy honey were my keywords, and I put a hot in my title and spicy backend keywords. Plus, they had the same total search volume. Hot honey had more impressions than spice honey. So I would say I would include both hot and spicy in the title, 100% on that one. I think you go on to talk about that a little bit more detail. You say, I hear that A9 likes it when you send off Amazon traffic to the PDPs, but I'm curious if you have any thoughts to traffic quality being considered. Amazon backlinking. Is this the future of Amazon? So search, find, buy, I think, is a practice that is going the wayside. It's probably going to go away. I think it still works, but not quite effectively. I would consider external traffic as an important strategy. However, it is not one I focus on at my Amazon guy. As an agency, we've had to focus on our core service, everything within Seller Central that drives traffic like SEO and PPC, as well as the conversion improvements, everything from design and catalog work. I would say catalog work is the hardest thing to do inside of Amazon. Very, very difficult work. But you're correct. A9 does appreciate, for those that don't know what Emily's talking about, there was an A9 update that has a factor to impact your indexing on Amazon. So give that a thought, Emily. I would put both the hot and spicy keywords in your title, and I would put additional phrases. I would even put the Spanish version of hot and spicy in your search terms, and misspellings. Very, very important. You put misspellings in Spanish in your search term field. All right. Trojan says, can I put keywords on the alt text of A+ content images unrelated to the actual product? Yes, I do it all the time. For example, images in a coffee mug, but alt text puts coffee grinder, coffee beans, etc. Yes, I think it's more ideal if you have contextual keywords behind the photo, but I would say there's probably not any negative reason to put in unrelated keywords as long as they're contextual to the product in some fashion or another. You need relevancy for it. All right, we're going to the next one. Mikkel says, hi, Steven, you were saying that the search find by becoming dangerous and can hurt your ranking. We've seen a lot of people get suspended, listings go down, as well as keyword rankings get diminished. What would be the best strategy, ranking launch strategy using 2SIP, direct traffic, PPC? Please advise. I would say our default go-to is actually just a really heavy PPC plan inside of Seller Central. And external traffic is probably directionally helpful, but the reason we don't focus on it is because you can't track or prove it's working. And so as an agency, I can't look owners in the eye and say, hey, I know this is working. So there are a lot of other agencies that do external traffic. And so kind of the future where I see things happening is maybe you'll need multiple agencies, one to run Seller Central and one to run external traffic. That might be a potential avenue to check out. But I would say, don't do rebates, don't do 2-step, don't do search find buy right now. I think they're too risky. I think ad media buys through Facebook and Google are safe, just really hard to prove that they are working. Ryan says, hey, Steven, do you know how to get views 360 view in your room feature on FBA listings? To my knowledge, Ryan, there is only one way to get this done, and it's through Vendor Central. You have to upload 180 photos. I have done it myself. Huge pain in the butts. I am not aware of a way to do this through Seller Central. However, if anybody watching this does know how to do that, please add information to the comment section. I always learn something new every day, but to my knowledge, it's a Vendor Central feature at this time. Josh says, how do keyword ad campaigns with multiple related items get displayed? Example, if I have a campaign for a keyword wine glass with 10 different ASINs, not variations, with will several ASINs be displayed at the same time on a competitor's listing and search results? All right, this is a very, very hyper-technical question, and I'm not 100% sure on this one, to be totally honest. I would say it might depend on your campaign structure. If you have one campaign with 10 ASINs in it, I don't believe that they will structurally set up multiple products in the campaign showing at the same time. Pretty sure they don't. So the guy that I know that would know the answer to this question is Mike over at Ad Badger. Sierra, if you wouldn't mind pinging them for this question and seeing if they'll weigh in the comment section on the replay, that would be fantastic. So Josh, I believe if you want to have 10 show up simultaneously, probably the safest thing to do is to create 10 separate ad groups with the same target. That, I believe, will show up multiple products on the same ASINs. Jeannie DS says, if I'm running out of stock, is it better to increase my price or just let the product go out of stock at a high velocity, I would assume? Which one is better to avoid a ranking drop? There is competing theory on this question right now. As a marketer, I think that profit is really important. And while I like to grow things at all costs, I still think it's important to pull in a profit. So because of that, I would recommend raising the price. If the item is going to be out of stock a lengthy period of time, it would be better, in my opinion, to slow it down. If the item is going to be out of stock for like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, something like that, I would probably go out of stock at a high velocity and then restock it really quickly. But if you're going to be out of stock for longer than a week, I think the best thing to do is 100% raise the price, take advantage of the margin, get a few extra dollars in profit. Strong opinion on that one. I do believe there is much competing theory on this question. What is your experience and thoughts on relaunch? I've been out of stock for almost 3 months now. Ocean freights are taking way longer than usual. I would recommend that you buy a year's supply of stock right now. Buy your Christmas stock now, not in May, not in June, but now. And get a 3PL where you can store your stuff because you can't ship that all direct into Amazon right now. The challenge with freight and ocean freight is not going to get better later this year, despite any rosy picture or optimism anybody else says. It is not getting better in 2021. Prices are still at an all-time high, and I do not see that changing this year. Therefore, it's cheaper to store your goods right now. So stock up. Brett says, heard about a cool strategy yesterday. Make an FBM listing for 4 times the quantity variation and slight dollar discount. Your thoughts? Can you run ASIN target on a single ASIN FBA variation through this 4X listing? I would say this is a modest gain, definitely doable. And even if you wanted to ship your 4 FBM out of your FBA material and just use a multi-channel fulfillment order, you totally can. And we've done that before. So yes, definitely doable. And I would say it's going to be modest in value. Once you test this though, if it does work, I would then box up a 4-pack and ship it into FBA on that same ASIN that you made. Alan says, ship inventory to LA port instead of New York, then have UPS pick up freight warehouse, can improve lead time significantly. I would say, yeah, definitely. California is easily the best place to ship stuff because you don't have to go through the Panama Canal. I am not a logistics expert or a freight expert, but I have done it quite a bit. And I definitely have a lot more success working through California. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I do ship stuff to the East Coast as well. But I think that if you are trying to increase your lead efficiency, when you ship into California, they typically will have you ship into a California warehouse. So then it just kind of streamlines. But that's just my personal experience. Ting says, my product is fulfilled by merchant FBM. Should I charge shipping with lower price or include shipping with a higher price? This is a fantastic question. What's the best strategy to price the product with higher shipping costs? So I would say pre-COVID, best practice for the past decade has been to free ship it and include it into your price. Right now, I think temporarily I would go ahead and have an actual shipping charge because people are more concerned that they're going to get their item than they are about paying for the shipping. And the supply chain is still a little shaky right now. A lot of people are stocking out and a lot of challenges. So because of that, I would say it's safe to have a shipping cost right now. Next year, I probably will have a different opinion on this question, but right now I would go ahead and charge the shipping costs. All right, so those are our tips on the trademark for Amazon brand registry users. Trojan says, what should I do if only to see the monthly demographic reporting, but not weekly? I have a ticket with brand registry, but it's been a week. I'm not sure what you're getting at on this particular question. Inside of your brand analytics dashboard, which I will share my screen here momentarily once I get this pulled up. But basically, there's some really cool data that you get inside of Seller Central right now. So let's go ahead and add this to the stream. So in here, if you go into the demographics targeting, there's a drop down weekly, monthly, quarterly. What's really cool about this is you can see all of the data. Now it's actually blank right here. Not sure why, but basically it shows you gender, marital status, as well as age and education. Kind of some cool data you can see in the brand analytics dashboard. I would definitely give it a whirl and see what things you can gain from it. I have a lot of video content around market polarization. Sierra, if you could link to the market polarization video, I think that'd be a good view for anybody that wants to learn more about brand analytics dashboard. Lisa says, can I apply to the FBA new selection program if I have bare bones listing for FNSKU printing? Could I send in 500 pieces for my first shipment? I believe the answer to your question is yes. The new to FBA program does not matter how optimized your listings are. AJ says, I want to sell a 2-pack of my item in a category that doesn't have variations for quantity. Any thoughts on a workaround? I definitely want to keep both listings under one parent. 2-pack, I would say I'm not sure which category doesn't allow for variation quantity. Maybe it's toys. Is it toys? I think it is toys. So in that situation, I would just create a second listing for the 2-pack, and you will not be able to parent them. There is no parentage allowed inside of toys, unfortunately. So sorry about that, AJ. You may not have a workaround for this particular one. I don't even think virtual bundles work, but maybe give that one a whirl. See if virtual bundles work for you. Report back what your findings are too. Very curious. Masomi says, how do I get rid of stranded items? What happens if I don't do anything? Will it have an effect on my account? Yes, it has a slight impact to your IPI score. Inside of Seller Central, there is an IPI score that tracks how you are doing with your turn rates. So I'm going to load my account here. I have an IPI score right now of 494. I took a hit in the last 7 days. I lost 17 points. I'm about to release a video where I talk about my #1 seller being banned from advertising right now. Probably going to post that video on Monday, so stay tuned with that. And it's really challenging because it's obviously taken an immediate impact to my sell-through, right? Anyway, so here are the 4 influencing factors on your IPI. Excess inventory, #1. Sell-through, #2. Stranded inventory, #3. So this affects you third most. It's a very distant third. They do not release the actual percentages, but if I had to guess, probably 50% excess inventory, 30% sell-through. Stranded inventory is going to be probably, I would say, 15%, and in-stock inventory, 5%. That's my guess. I don't actually know this for sure, but that's kind of what I feel like its percentages are. Excess inventory is usually what kills IPI fastest. You can see a graph here on like how IPI does over time. As long as you're over 500, they give you unlimited storage in the next quarter. You have to be above 500 at either the middle of the quarter or at the end of the quarter. I actually misspoke here. It's 450 right now. They lowered it back down to 450 this quarter. They had it at 500 last quarter. So as long as you're above 450 right now, minimum threshold, you're good for unlimited quantity. So my IPI here is good, not excellent, but good enough. And I'm going to have a problem because I'm starting to go down. So now to answer the rest of your question, how do you fix stranded inventory? I would say you need to go into the stranded inventory dropdown, hit fix stranded, try and refresh it. If it doesn't work, file tickets until it gets fixed. Stranded inventory, very important, prevents the item from being sold. If you do nothing about it, Amazon will automatically remove the inventory and ship it back to you, which is a relatively new change. Josh says, you advised against using competitors' names in backend keywords because of risk of takedown. How would I find a competitor's using my brand name and get them taken down? Sierra, I'm losing my voice here. I'm going to have you read the next questions from here on out. Give me a little break. So Josh, I would say, how would you find your competitors using that? I actually do not know the answer to this question. I believe there is a tool out there. I just don't know the name of it. It's been kind of rumored or referenced to me, but nobody's revealed it to me. If anybody watching this wants to share what tool can be used to see what somebody's search terms are on the ASIN by seller, please send me an email to podcast@myamazonguy.com. I would love to hear about this and do a video on it. So Josh, I'll have to get back to you on that. All right, Sierra, go ahead and pop in here and read this out for me if you don't mind.
For Amazon brand registry, does Amazon care what identifications of goods and or services a trademark is classified under? For instance, a trademark is classified ... con.
Continue. So their comment's going to continue.
Okay.
I don't actually see their continued comment though. All right, so let's see here. Do they care what your identification is on your trademark? I would say they probably do. However, we usually recommend most people that buy a trademark from us to go ahead and just buy one class because it is expensive to buy multiple classes. Now, the larger of a seller you are, the more likely that you're going to want to buy more classes. For anybody that does need a trademark, we file these. We're one of the best in class at it. We get a trademark out within 1 business day from you filing with us, and you can complete the entire brand registry process in under 7 days. I have about 8 videos on trademarks with every question imaginable that you could ask on a trademark. A ton of free information if you want to learn more about trademarks. What is a trademark? Every FAQ, like these FAQs have been built over 3 years of people asking me these common questions. And we have an answer to pretty much everything you can think of, as well as a full brand registry guide. So we'll put that into the comment section here. So if you have a category class that's in baby goods, but you're trying to sell in lawn and garden, they may not allow your brand node ID to link. I took there's a pretty good case example of this. So I think it's EAN, where there's multiple people selling products under this brand. I probably messed the brand name. It's probably not EAN. Oh well. So basically what happened though was there was 2 sellers that had the same brand name trademarked in different categories. And in this particular instance, you'd click on the one brand name and it would go to food, and you click on the brand name and it would go to lawn care. Caused a lot of problems. So if somebody has a short brand name, I think the class matters a lot because you're going to have other people showing up and conflicting your brand node ID. The longer your brand name is, the more and more unusual it is, the less this probably matters. So if you need somebody to file your trademark, hope you choose my Amazon guy to do so.
Cupcake Sprinkles. AZ says that our seller act not connected to our brand. Is there a way in VC or BR that I can see if this is broken for myself? BR access to selling benefits, should our sales act be listed? Should our sales account be listed here?
All right, so let's take a look at this question. If it's not connected to your brand, Vendor Central support is going to be your best friend. I would probably refile the brand registry from scratch just to see what happens. And I would start with that, Cupcake Sprinkles. But second to that, I would file multiple tickets with Vendor Central, letting them know that you own the brand registry, give them the email address you own the brand registry under, and see if they can connect the brand node ID. It should definitely be connected. And I think you've made a couple comments over the last couple of weeks where you've struggled with this challenge. You may benefit from doing a coaching session with me since it's kind of going out a little bit. I know you're spending a lot of time on this, so definitely consider getting a coaching call with us if you don't mind. But I would push hard on the brand registry support as well as the Vendor Central support to connect those dots. Emily says, thank you. You're very welcome. And then Anthony here. Go ahead, Sierra. Do not hear. All right. So start that again. There you go.
If Anthony says, if I have 3 separate ASINs, is it possible to enroll each of them into the Vine program and then later combine the 3 ASINs under one parent listing for a potential of 90 reviews total?
The answer to that is yes. We've actually done just that. I don't think it's against terms and conditions. I don't know if you'll ever get in trouble. We've never had any pushback. I would say it's safe to go ahead and do. So get the reviews before you recombine the parentage, though. All right, next question.
In your energy example, the word energy is repeated in that ASIN's keyword indexing. I am confused. So should I repeat words in my backend?
Do not repeat words in the back end. It's okay to index for thousands of keywords on energy, but you do not want to repeat the energy phrase in the search term field at all. All right, Nina.
Hi, Stephen. Sales for our ASIN tanked from 20 plus to less than 5 on February 14th. No idea what caused it. We revised the listings, keywords, PPC, and nothing helped. Any insight what we could look at?
Nina, if you want to post your ASIN, I will do a live ASIN review right here if you feel comfortable doing so. If you don't feel comfortable, go ahead and send an email to podcast@myamazonguy.com. I'd be happy to give you a courtesy glance over. Number one thing I would look for is a hidden suppression, actually. If you type in your ASIN and it doesn't come up into the search results, so I'll demonstrate that right here. So if you just grab, I'm just going to grab a random ASIN here. And let's grab that right here. So if I type in this ASIN to the search field and the item comes up, you're good. If it doesn't, it would be because there's a problem with a hidden suppression. So give that a whirl and check that out. Just make sure you don't have any hidden suppressions. Beyond that, there's so many other variables, it's impossible for me to guess. I need to see the live ASIN to find out. What is my favorite color? Blue. No example of the blue behind me right now, but definitely a blue guy. All right, Eric, Arud. You're on mute there. Go try it again.
Steven, I noticed that my auto campaign stops performing on Fridays for some reason. Thoughts?
It's probably not the campaign. It's probably the people. Friday is the weakest day of the week for sales. If your auto campaign has been programmed to do fixed bids, you might want to do fixed bids on Fridays. If it's up and down or down only, Amazon might be trying to purposely reduce your impression counts on Friday because there is less sales traction. So that might be the workaround to that situation, but it actually might be a non-issue entirely. No matter what you change, you may have the same results. It's just simply Friday. Eric Chen.
Some products ultimately fail, unfortunately. Any suggestions on how to repurpose fail ASINs that have a lot of reviews so that they don't go to waste?
So technically, the Amazon guidelines and policy is don't reuse ASINs. That doesn't keep people from doing it. However, I would say within reason, if you upgrade a product, so let's say you added a feature or added another item to your kits, go ahead and reuse the ASIN. I would, however, not change the category of an item. So if you could get additional traction from that ASIN by switching up the photos, the descriptions, the content, etc., and shift it slightly, I would say okay/appropriate. The reason why I say it may not be inappropriate is you have some reviews that are on the listing that if you switch the item out entirely would have no correlation. And that's when I think it's black hat. So if you're switching the item from one category to another, I think that's inappropriate. But if you're staying within bounds where like you had a 2.0 or a 3.0 version of the same item, I think that's fair game. Amazon's policy is probably even against that, however. Emily.
What is one thing you dislike most about selling on Amazon, and what do you like about it?
So number one thing I dislike is the fact that even though I'm an expert and I'm a pro at selling on Amazon, I still make thousands of dollars in mistakes, no matter what I do. There is definitely a 1 out of 3 failure rate, even for the experts. My least favorite thing is that sometimes when it's so illogical that a policy is in place and you're hitting your head against seller support and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. And they still freaking do what they do. And as my favorite case example, so this item, I have to, well, let's see if I can do this correctly. There we go, right there. That item right there. I'll go ahead and grab it. I keep this next to me to remind me of my own failures and incompetence, as well as Amazon's incompetence, right? This hot sauce bottle that I'm handling right here, I paid Amazon. I made 1,000 of these. Great reviews, great listing. Everything could have gone no better from a marketing standpoint. It was getting sales. It's a 4.5 pound bottle and it's fragile. I paid Amazon for prep work. I paid them to bubble wrap this. And you know what they did with my bubble wrapped hot sauce? They shipped it out in padded envelopes. That's right, padded envelopes. So that's my least favorite thing about Amazon. It's when there's a policy that makes absolutely no sense and you push back and you're like, seller support, WTF. Why are you shipping my item out in padded envelopes? It's a 5 pound glass bottle. Why are you doing this? Ship it in boxes. And they're like, well, according to our policies, blah, 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 blah. That's what I hate. I am super frustrated by that. I gave up on that product because of it, because at the time I did not have my own warehouse. I didn't have the ability to box my own glass. And I just it just wasn't even worth my time. So I gave up on it. Dafu says,
Hi, Stephen. If I have 160 words that create 650 phrases in different formats, exact, broad, and phrases, no way I can fit all those 650 phrases into SEO. How would you approach this in the best way?
And for context, he's talking about launch. So very easy answer for you. Take your top 10 competitors and see which ones they rank the highest for of those 650 phrases. And then iterate. Month 1, run with the best. Month 2, switch out 50% of your search terms and incrementally index for the things that you need to index for, and continually rotate those search terms every month. That's the solution. It's a lot of work, but at the same time, would you spend $10,000 on a PPC campaign and never once do a bid adjustment? Of course not. SEO is the same way. It's underrated. Steven says,
Hi, Stephen. Are you still hiring for account managers?
We are. If you would like to place your resume in to get hired at My Amazon Guy, please send your resume to jobs@myamazonguy.com. We are very much in a growth mode right now, and we need more account managers. What we are looking for, somebody with 1 or more years of experience selling on Amazon. And we need somebody that's personable, somebody that can talk to clients and explain to them why things are occurring. We're not expecting you to be perfect on everything within Amazon, but we very much need somebody who has rolled their sleeves up somewhat. We love to hire people that have their own Amazon accounts. And if you're watching this from overseas, we also hire overseas workers. The email for overseas jobs is phjobs@myamazonguy.com. And we hire for design, PPC, catalog work, and many other things. So, Stephen, if you're interested in putting your resume in for that, please do so. My team and account managers will review that, and directors will manage that workflow for that hiring process.
Trojan says, my demographics page only has results for monthly views, but not weekly views. Blank page.
So when you have an item that has problems with brand registry, I would file a ticket and ask them why that is happening. So if your demographic page for results on monthly views but not weekly, it could be bugging out. I did earlier also demonstrate that my weekly was also blank, and it might just be a straight up bug that everybody has right now. If anybody else is experiencing that, please feel free to add it to the comment section so we can kind of understand that's affecting a lot of people. I think weekly is just bug right now, to be honest. DK Kim.
I'm listing one product now and adding 4 more variations in the future. Which is better strategy? Creating combined listing from the start versus creating each ASIN separately and combining later.
Without a doubt, you want to combine them from the start. Combining parentage from the start is highly effective. I have multiple videos on parentage where I talk about this theory in depth. Let's see. So the video, Sierra, we want to plug here is Child Variations Explained. If you can find that one and cue that one up for DK here. After you have done the combination, if 2 of those variations, at least 2, are both doing very well, that's when I would break them out. If you don't have them in connection ahead of time, you will have worse results from my experience. It's very important to have those connected to begin with. My wife, Emily, just brought me some water here. My voice is getting a little hoarse, so appreciate your patience, guys. Let's go to the next question for Leonard.
Hey, Stephen, if you have A+ content and then put keywords in the description, do those keywords in the description still index even though customers can't see them?
They do. However, we don't know how much of an effect they have. So I would say it's very dependent. The description field also used to not display on Seller Central. It only displayed on vendor. It now also displays on Seller Central. So I would say it's very important to pay attention to the description field, whereas previously it wasn't as important. A+ content, I do recommend including copy in there because it still helps with the indexing despite all the public comments that Amazon makes. Leonard continues.
What is your process for managing your PPC? Example, do you use micros on bulk files or what softwares do you use?
We absolutely are using macros on bulk files right now. It'd be impossible to manage as many campaigns as we are doing without some sort of bulk assistance. So we use macros inside of Excel sheets to program ways to 80/20 as many things as we can. Macros as well as AI robots do not work well for growing sales. You need a human to create new campaigns. Macros, however, do allow for some kind of interesting things like creating auto campaigns in mass, creating negations in mass, as well as many other techniques to make bid adjustments and many other things. So we have a pretty sophisticated set of tools that we use at My Amazon Guy. By end of the year, I hope to become a technology company and take it to the next level. It's a work in progress right now. But there are many great tools out there as well. All right.
I got brand registered by them. Very professional, super fast turnover. Highly recommend.
Leonard, I think you're giving us a testimonial here. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. Glad it worked out for you.
Jamie asks, any experience about new FBA Selection?
Not a whole lot of insight on this. I think it's just a rework of an old program where they're just trying to get people to launch more products, because the fastest way Amazon can grow sales is for people to add more SKUs into the catalog. So I would say not a whole lot of benefit to the program other than the fact they give you a little bit of discount, maybe a little bit more, less restriction on your SKUs getting launched. But beyond that, not a whole lot to say at this point. We'll see.
JA asks, when doing a shipping plan, on the from address in the field address line 1, it says street address, PO box, company name.
So a PO box, what is that? Can you use your name? I honestly, I'm not sure how to answer this question, but I would say you could probably leave certain things blank if they're not accurate. You do want to have the ship from correct. I think what you could put there is like what you would normally do with a regular snail mail, like whatever you would put at the top of a mailer, or LTL shipment or UPS shipment. All of those would be the same. Really don't have any concerns here. I would go ahead and just test it out, make sure it works. But quite frankly, in the ship from address, if that's what you're referring to, and I think it is, it doesn't matter what you put because they're never going to ship it back. It's kind of irrelevant.
Danielle asks, what do you think Amazon business? Is there any way to establish sales data on that platform?
B2B is about 2% of sales right now on Amazon. That stat is made up by my perception based on looking at 160 some odd accounts. Could be bigger for some categories and smaller on others. I don't think it's worth focusing on. I do think it's okay to open up your B2B platform. We do have a video on opening up B2B and how to set those prices. But I would say, honestly, there's so many more things I would prioritize over that. I just posted the link to our guide here, so you can see that right there. Once your account's set up for B2B, you can manage the pricing, set up business pricing, and get some discounts out there. The tracking on B2B is a little weak, and I don't think it's a really that big of a segment right now, so I wouldn't really worry about too much. All right, let's go to Daniel.
Do you offer business prices on your listings in USA? I mean, adding business price to your listings?
So I do. So that's back to this where we were just talking about that. But I'm not really focused on this. I just don't think this platform generates unique acquisition. So I don't think it's a critical component to your strategies at all.
Cupcake Sprinkles asks, how many ads can be placed on a listing? Amazon PL is advertising on our listings. Can we target our own ASINs to keep them off? It seems lately there are more ads between bulletins and descriptions.
So your private label from Amazon, that's when they're coming out with their own products for the same items. And that can be a problem. Like Amazon Basics, for example, they destroyed the battery industry like completely based on coming out with some of that. They focused on staple items first. Now they're coming out with more and more private label items. So can you keep them off of your ASIN? Not by force, but you can by technique. So if you create defensive ASIN campaign targeting methods, you will 100% absolutely knock some of the ads off. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, we have a video on how to set up defensive ASIN targeting, and I will see if I can link to that here momentarily. I found the offensive ASIN targeting video. All right, so here's the offensive. Post that here. Offensive targeting, and then pretty sure I just misspelled offensive there. And then defensive targeting. Let's see if we can find that one next. I forgot to put anytime I'm trying to find one of my own videos, I end up Googling my name plus topic area. And here we go. How to set up defensive ASIN targeting right there. All right, so defensive ASIN targeting. We'll put a video on that. So give that one a whirl. That shows you exactly how to manage and set this up. All right, let's go to the next question. Matt confirms post office box. Yep, we're with you on that same page with you on that, Matt. And let's keep going to the next question. All right, I think here we are. Sorry, Sierra, go ahead.
Hi, Stephen. I have clients who actually a direct distributor For Apple products, Amazon sells Apple products. Do you think it's possible to sell if proof is provided and that we are linked to Apple?
Yes, all you need is a letter or an invoice. You should be just fine. Apple is probably one of the more gated brands, however. So just be advised that at some point you're going to be taken down and you'll have to provide the documents. But yeah, you should be able to get ungated if you are a distributor. Um, Keep in mind, though, that Apple doesn't want you on their listings and they pretty much hate that stuff. Let's go to Jimmy.
I know the keyword. I don't mind higher than normal CPC to get top placement. Budget is $15 to $20 a day. Get 1 to 2 clicks, rarely sales, so I call it a fail. Need to ramp budget and let run? Question mark.
So supplements is the hardest category to advertise in, bar none. There is nothing harder than supplements. The reason a lot of people get into supplements is because they're like, oh, it's high margin, right? I want to get into supplements. It's high margin. So the question is if you spend, I don't know, $5,000, $10,000 on advertising, after you complete your big rush, can it sustain itself over time? Well, I do think that a lot of supplements businesses believe the answer to that question is yes. The problem is that a lot of mom and pop sellers are showing up in the supplements business, not knowing how competitive it is and expecting good results, and they're falling flat. It's the hardest category, very high margin business, but also requires massive amount of PPC spend. There are certain supplements that are pretty much dead in the water. You can't even advertise them at all. Fat booster. Nobody wants to get fatter, right? Fat trimmer or a testosterone booster. Both of those, anything weight loss or test boosting, are very much prohibited from advertising. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to Ryan.
What are the different options for product variation? I see some listings that do variations different ways. I'm going to do a variation for the first time.
So I have a list of all of these. Let's see if I can pull that up on screen. I got to find the right article, so stand by. But we build a lot of parentage. I actually have one person at my company that does their entire job is just building parentage. So you've got size parentage, quantity parentage, color variation. I think the ones we don't list are also style name, and there's also scent and flavor. So a lot of different things that exist out there, and just keep in mind that Amazon very much is very picky with parentage right now. If you have any problems with them breaking your parentage at this time, you need to consider doing some template work, reworking it, switching out where you're targeting and whatnot. And so keep that in mind. My wife actually just sent me a note. She can't find her car keys, and I just gave her my car keys live on a podcast. It's kind of fun doing that. All right, pick up the kids. Thanks, hon. All right, let's go to the next question here.
I'm writing out some rules for macro for bulk file editing. What do you do for keywords where you have the new bid below the old CPC? How long do you wait to start reducing the bid again for high ACOS keyword?
So that is a challenging question that I'm not sure how to answer, and I'm going to think about this. So what do you do for keywords where you have the new bid below the old CPC? I think this is the challenge with macros, right? Like you can't create infinite number of rules to factor in every variable. In these sort of situations, your macro basically came up with the fact that the bid was too high and not generating enough sales. Therefore, it lowered the bid. That's how you led to the situation that you're currently in. So because of that, you need to override your macro and manually create a campaign with said keywords that you're concerned about, or program the macro so that it does a broader stroke or doesn't make a bid adjustment until certain thresholds or criteria have been met. For example, number of clicks or number of sales or number of spend. Those are the attributes you're going to have to play with. Leonard, you're on a big adventure to go down to the macro rabbit hole. Very, very difficult work ahead of you. Wish you the best of luck, and I would love to see what you develop. Definitely report back. Let's go to Brett.
How does a wine glass get suspended for PPC?
Well, on my Monday video, I will reveal a lot of information about that. But basically, long story short, somebody probably reported my listing for alcohol. Basically, it comes up on Amazon as a glass that is promoting alcohol, even though it doesn't. So here's the listing in question. And this particular product here, let's see if I can do this right. Let's see, pick on the right one. There we go. So this listing right here, we have since taken out many of our secondary images. We've put in the duplicates of the same to try and, see if it was like, oh, they saw one of my images promoted alcohol. This listing was fine for a year and a half and then got suspended because somebody reported it for promoting alcoholism. I know, right? It's crazy. It's just a simple wine glass. Somebody could drink water out of it. Whatever they want is what it is. We'll talk more about that on Monday. So stay tuned for that one. Let's go to the next question.
Daniel asks, I'm about to add an EAN product that I sell in the USA on the German market. When I click the add product, a completely other product is showing up. How can I delete that product?
So Daniel, you got two choices ahead of you here. Choice number one, switch your EAN or UPC and give up on the current one. That's the easy solution. That's the solution I generally go with. Option two, fight tooth and nail to get the ASIN changed to match your data. The Chinese are hacking the heck out of our data right now. Not a lot of people are talking about it. The reason I talk about it is because I've seen it like 100 times. And I even know that the GS1 database has been guessed/hacked. Don't know which of the two. And we actually asked last Friday the GS1 team directly how they would respond to that situation. And they gave us an email for reporting hackers or reporting bad actors who use your codes incorrectly. So Sierra, if you could dig up the code or the email address we posted in our last Friday session and post it, that would be fantastic. Let's go to our next question.
Me too. I got brand registry through my Amazon guy. Very quick and professional. Thanks, Stephen.
I love these unprompted testimonials. I will send you a check later, my friends. So thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go to Leonard.
Example, I saw a keyword was underperforming and reduced the bids. A few days later, I look at the keyword again, the last 30 days, and the bid is $1 and the CP is 1.4.
So Leonard, I don't think I have any further value to add to the macro conversation other than to say, keep testing and updating the factors that go into your macros. That's the best advice I can give you. Let's go to JA.
Is it possible to do one shipping plan for two variations that are under the same parent in order to have the UPC come and pick up the cartons? UPS come and pick up the cartons at the same time because they arrive from China in the same ship?
The answer to this question is absolutely yes. You could put unlimited amount of SKUs into a shipment, no problem. The challenge becomes, do you trust your Chinese manufacturer to label everything correctly? If you don't, give them explicit instruction. Make sure every case is packed with only one SKU in the case to be safe. And then have them put case labels that identify that SKU on the shipment. But yeah, very safe to do this, JA. We do it all the time. No problem. Let's go to Ryan.
Following up to my last question about variations, I have a product that is already ranked very well, but I want to add second size to it. Will adding a variation to it mess up the ranking, BSR?
It will not. BSR stands for Business Sales Rank, and it will not mess anything up. Generally speaking, if you have parentage SEO being messed up, it's because the parentage broke and you had to remake it. But if you're making a parentage from scratch, there is no downside to that from an SEO perspective. Don't parent things together that are doing well by themselves. Parent things together where you've got one thing doing well and other things that are not doing well. The idea here is to bring up all ships rise together. We used to have parentage theory where we parented more things together to combine reviews. That's, of course, increasingly not the case in more of our products. I think I just lost my camera footage here.
Yeah, we lost visual.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to a 2-shot while I troubleshoot this. I got to see if I can switch over my camera. Go ahead and go to the next question.
Okay. Is it possible to sell brand restricted products? We have brand new but not bought firsthand from manufacturers. Is there a workaround for this? And we gotta wait for Stephen to answer this because I don't know the answer to this question. So, how's everyone's day?
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Thanks for your patience. All right, so Sierra, how did you like being on the spot there? Was that fun? I'm sure you're thrilled right now. All right, I'll pull. Oh, now you're the main person.
Okay.
You're like, she's out. Sierra's gone. Never doing this job again. All right, let's see if that works. Is it possible to sell brand restricted products? It is, but you do need to have invoices or written proof that you have the ability to sell them. Otherwise, they will reject you. I switched my camera to my webcam. I think I have apparently 55 minutes is how long a camera will stay on for me with my Sony setup. We'll see if maybe next time I'll just go straight to webcam. All right, Datfu, how to get into gated categories. Is it worth all the hassle? I would say it is worth the hassle because it gives you a competitive advantage. I think it's very important for you to get competitive advantages whenever possible. As examples to gated categories, grocery used to be gated. I don't really think it's too gated nowadays, but toys can sometimes be gated. So can supplements or beauty or topicals. All of these things can be ungated for a service. We do offer that. If you get stuck, just let us know. Eric says, love the hot sauce, LOL. So do I. This hot sauce actually was well liked. I still get emails to this day with clients asking for me to ship them a box of it because I sent it out one year for Christmas. I unfortunately no longer manufacture it. So thanks for playing. My wife says, thanks for passing me the car keys. Our sweet daughter locked my set of keys in the car. So she was like dancing around my office, like trying to scribble me notes during our live podcast here. And our last question today comes from Josh. Any idea if there are any consequences on Amazon for allowing a GS1 barcode to expire? I have a GTIN exemption for new products. Would love to stop renewing my GS1 barcodes. Josh, I actually don't know the answer to this. I have never once purchased a GS1 barcode directly myself. I have always purchased them indirectly, retired barcode style off eBay. Last Friday, we brought on the GS1 representative who said, shame on us, don't do that. And if your code expires, I don't know what happens. I wonder if it retires or Amazon stops respecting it. Don't know the answer to that question at all. So Josh says, I'm sorry for asking only hard questions today. If I might have said multiple times, I don't know the answer, but Josh, I appreciate it. If anybody knows further information about questions that came up on our podcast today, don't hesitate to add your own value. It is not us against each other. It's not me against another agency. It's not you as a seller against another seller. It is all of us against Amazon as far as I'm concerned. So thanks for coming on the My Amazon Guy podcast. Special thanks to Sierra. Appreciate your help as well. We will leave a link to all of our playlists at the end of this video for those that are watching us at the end of the sequence. Don't hesitate to watch our podcasts on SEO, PPC, how to grow your sales on Amazon. We cover all of these topics every day in and out. We have 600 videos on all things Amazon. Next week, we will have our regularly scheduled Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time podcast yet again. And I will be joining Jungle Scout on Thursday and Friday on their platform to talk about listing optimization. So super excited about that. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like button, add a comment if you enjoyed the session today. It does help us with the YouTube algorithm. And all of you, good luck growing your Amazon sales and have a great week.